He's Shanika. Well, if you are a fan of the legendary Motown star Smokey Robinson, we have just the event for you. Smokey and Me, a celebration of Smokey Robinson, is coming to Frederick this weekend. Joining us now to tell us about the big show is Tony-nominated Broadway star Charles Brown. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, first up, can you tell us about this show? It sounds amazing.
Yes, so it's a really fun show. It's a celebration of Smokey Robinson's music, but it's called Smokey and Me because then in the second act, I do some Smokey tunes, but then I give you a little bit of my background and my journey to Broadway and playing Smokey on Broadway and in London.
Yeah, and speaking of, can you tell us a little bit about that? That's pretty amazing. You played Smokey Robinson in both Motown, in London, and New York.
Yeah, I was the only American actor that they brought over to open the show over there on the West End. It was a dream come true to get to do both. It was incredible because, you know, the London fans love this music just as much as the American fans. So to get there and be overseas for the first time doing a show on the West End and to get to see all the excitement around it was a dream come true.
And all the fish and chips?
All the fish and chips, yes.
So how does it feel to bring such a legendary star to the stage?
It's a little overwhelming because he's so iconic and people know and love his music so much and have been following him for decades now that I had to do it right. So it was a task, but I was up to the task.
And we can see a little bit of it right there. And look at you. So
Yeah.
did Smokey ever come to a show is a big question.
Smokey came quite a few times. He came to opening night, and I tell this story in the show. Whenever he would come to the show afterwards, he'd wait for me backstage, and he'd see me and put on his big Smokey smile and say, "Hey, me."
In that voice.
Yeah, in that voice. And that was our thing, and I loved it.
That's so cool. He got to see him. And I don't know, were you ever nervous meeting him for the first time? Or it's probably good you didn't know till the end. He was there.
Yes. However, the very first time we were doing the 2 pre-Broadway workshops, and that's the first time I met him. He came to that, and right before, in the rehearsals, right after I sang "You Really Got a Hold on Me,"
Yes.
someone was telling me that he was there in the audience. So I had to go out with the nerves, sing "You Really Got a Hold on Me." Then they called break. Then I got to meet Smokey. I was like, what is he going to say? But he was lovely and gracious, as he always is. So from then on, I kind of, you know, it was smooth sailing.
You're like, I'm good.
I was like, I got this. Yeah.
So how do you prepare for that role and the concert?
Well, it started for me like with doing my research. So I read his autobiography, but we got to work directly with Mr. Barry Gordy himself. So we got a lot of that, you know, the knowledge from the very beginning, and then the voice. You know, you got to get the Smokey voice, man. So I studied his voice and I watched his interviews and I made sure that I clicked in, but then brought myself to the role too. So it was all just one package.
All of his mannerisms.
All of his mannerisms and everything, yeah.
All right, well, last question. Do you have a favorite song?
I have many favorite songs, but I think Tears of a Clown might be my favorite one to perform in Smokey and Me, just because of, I don't want to give anything away, but I really take it back to the era of the 60s and what they were going through during the Civil Rights Movement, and I set that to Tears of a Clown, so I like to bring a little bit of the history into what's happening in the song.
Nice, amazing. All right, well, if you would like more information on this show, very exciting show, we have all of that on our website, dcnewsnow.com.